Clearly, the last 1 year has been a tragedy. Simple. There is not one problem they have been able to solve. So I cannot see any other than low key. I mean, I give them the sense that they are feeling the pressure. They can see the faces of Nigerians. And so perhaps they are trying to see how can they assuage this anger, because the people are angry. But the renewed hope they talk about is a renewed fraud. I can't see anything in that hope. Because look, what are the delays?
This country is in problem, is in trouble, big one for that matter, for the next 3 years. Where is the hope? Where is the hope? There's no hope. This man, according to this man, he said Tinubu's renewed hope is a fraud. Professor Usman said Tinubu's renewed hope is a deception and hopelessness. Where is the hope for Nigeria for the next 3 years? 2027. How are we going to survive it? There's no hope. There's no hope. As we speak now, take your time, listen to this man. Just listen to everything this man said. This man has been in politics. Don't let APC members deceive you. Anything, all the promises they are promising you is a lie, is a fraud. Now, they have come out openly to say that they have failed because 1 year celebration they want to do. They said they want to do it low, on the low. That is to say, they have identified already that they have failed this country. They can't do. CBN governor said they can't do magic. So what do you expect? They have failed already. There's no hope. So it's going to get worse for the next 3 years. Buckle down your shoes. You know, I've been telling you. So please, like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please, you guys, please, let's grow this YouTube channel. Please.
As citizens and as people who have been in government, clearly the last 1 year has been a tragedy. Simple. There is not one problem they have been able to solve. So I cannot see any other than low key. I mean, I give them the sense that they are feeling the pressure. They can see the faces of Nigerians. And so perhaps they are trying to see how can they assuage this anger, because the people are angry. Since this administration came, 1 year, I have not seen one problem that they have solved. If anything, the policies they started with have created far more problems than they found. And in this 1 year, they are clearly groping in the dark without very clear. And this is the time really to admit and to then seek help from those who know. And Nigeria is full of people with the experience, with the expertise. They may not be in your party, they may not even be in politics, but this is the way many countries have been able to get out of the problems they have found themselves. And what we are going through is not new. Countries go through this from time to time. And what do? They draw from their resources, their intellectual resources, their administrative resources, the people who have experiences, and this country is full of them. But you see, they lock themselves up as a club, and they are not delivering. And I would like to say, in fact, I feel uncomfortable discussing this without even defining what are the metrics. We as a nation should have by now developed metrics for evaluating governance. In the academic cycle, there are. And there are statistics. Every government should have come with a baseline. After 1 year, it will be able to say scientifically, this is the production in terms of agriculture, right? What we found in 2023. And this last season, we have improved by a number of metric tons. In the field of security, these are the figures we would have improved. So this morning, the first I read, was 20 people picked up by bandits right in Gwarimpa this morning. 20 people in an estate. So if Abuja, with all the, if you like, presence of government in Abuja, is not safe. And this has sent a shock to many citizens of Abuja. I'm not in any way saying that we should be more worried about what's happening. Other citizens in Sokoto, in Zamfara, in Benue, in Cross River, in wherever they are, that are constantly being killed and being raped, being maimed, being displaced. I mean, as citizens also, and we must be concerned. So my point is, really, what I've heard so far are empty rhetorics that have not spoken to the problems on the ground. I mean, if you're talking about more money to the states, that's not your business. That is the revenue allocation formula. You are not doing a favor to anybody, right? You're simply implementing the revenue allocation formula. It's a law. You should be talking about what have you done with the money you've collected yourself.
Let's take a look at it. And I wanted to, because a leader has to be sensitive to the plight of its people. And I imagine that in my thinking that if the government had said they were going to do some fanfare and throw some sparkles in the air and throw some light and parties, I would imagine maybe we're living in another world entirely different. I mean, than the one we know because of the hardship in the land. For them coming out to say, look, we are not, it's going to be a low key. It's a plus for them in realizing that the nation is in form of hardship.
Well, one can give them the good sense of knowing that seeing the danger. But I think, Sean, people have said it, that social media is full of anger. They must have been informed by their intelligence officers that if they dare do the kind of thing they would have done, they might be inviting a big riot or a revolt.
Because it was common sense that prevailed.
Yeah. I don't see
that there's nothing to glory or to be joyful about in this government's 1 year existence.
Let me say it this way, Sean. I have not seen it. And the way citizens are reacting, if you go through, if you meet some of us that, we don't stay in the offices. We move around. Yesterday I was in Adamawa, for example. And tomorrow I'll be in Kaduna. And then I'll be moving to places. And as you move and as you interact and as you speak to your people, I have a network, in Ibadan and so many. What you hear are people are crying and they are extremely desperate. Look at it this way. Workers would require on average 1,000 naira to get to their workplace and come back. And that's, if you even take 5 days in a week, that's already 20,000. Food for an average family of 2 adults and 5 children, you require a minimum of 2,000 to feed that family at the basic level of subsistence or existence. And that's already 60,000 because you don't have weekends, in terms of food. And so you're already talking about 80,000, 90,000. You have not spoken about school. You have not spoken about hygiene. You have not spoken about a number of other things that come with everyday life. And bulk of these citizens, even if you earn, even if you earn, and how many people earn 100,000? This is salary for graduates. And how many graduates are out there on the street looking for jobs? They cannot find one. So how people are actually even surviving is a miracle. The point is, I think is good. It's common sense, that they know that this is coming, and the anger is building. And my worry, and it doesn't, I'm in pain having to say this. It's not something that I'm happy about. It is painful because the consequences are that if we cannot solve these problems and we get the citizens, the population, to a point where they have nothing to do, but to fight back, we don't know what's going to happen. You remember James Baldwin, the famous Black American writer who wrote Fire on the Mountains, and he said the most dangerous person in any society is somebody who has nothing more to lose. Many of these people have lost everything. Think of the millions that have been displaced. They have no farmland to farm, they have no jobs, they have no food, they have nothing. And there is no arrangement that we have seen. Even this recent palliatives and all has not reached the real people who needed them. And I said here, the government has shown that they are the worst managers of palliatives, and they should be more creative in finding ways that, so what do you expect the citizens to do?
I'll go into critical areas, power, economy, security, because these are fundamental.
Let's start with security.
Yes, just for a moment. I want to get your view because there is a perspective and a narrative that the government wants Nigerians to understand. And these have been pushed over and over again. And the government is saying they've met the nation in a bad state. That the Buhari government left this country in such a terrible state. And so it takes a lot of effort to be able to turn things around. And understandably, for those of us who know and will sing and follow the trend of things, we know that our economy is in such a bad shape. We are almost going to be in that situation that we wake up in the morning and would have been a slave to China, for example, because we are so indebted to that country. And because the economy, some analysts have told me on this program, that Buhari government set us back 20 years in time. Now, if you met an economy in that state, this government is saying, since they got into office, and it will take some time to turn things around. And it's going to be like the pain of childbearing, but things will get better. Do you agree with this government that, well, maybe, on the basis, on the indices through which you can judge it, is to know whether we're on the right path? Do you think we're on the right path under this government to say, yes, the pain will be temporary, and that's what Mr. Baguri is saying, that it's going to be temporary, but we're almost in the curve.
Now, you see, the problem is they speak about what we all know. So they're not telling us anything new, that Buhari has destroyed the economy of this country, right? We all know that. We feel it. It's not just, in fact, we know it better than them because we go through the pains, right? So they're not saying anything new. Now, when they say that there'll be pain, things will be, we want to see the change in the trajectory. How can you be talking like that at the same time you are, buying 160 million vehicles for members of the National Assembly? How can you say that, they'll be paid and you are going to get, to set things right while you are padding the budget with billions,
But can you stop the National, you've been in the National Assembly before, can the executive stop them from buying the vehicles? Because what we understand is that this is the 10th Assembly, isn't it? The 9th Assembly has approved those the monies for the vehicle. It was almost a done deal. They just walked into.
No, it can be done. It can be done. Why do we have violence in the budget?
So you think that they could have reversed the purchase?
If they really want to show the citizens of this country they are serious in repairing the damage that they found, the first thing for them is to remove that money from buying vehicles and go straight to invest it in agriculture, so that there will be increase in production of food. Because poverty is what faces this country at the moment. People can't feed, they can't eat, and they are dying. You go to the hospital, many cannot buy the medicines. The hospitals themselves are crumbling. So, and you are here taking public money. It's not their own private thing. It's not a donation by Dangote or some generous corporate body. These are money that belong to these people. You are buying luxurious car in a situation where people are dying. You have invested so much money in security, and you are not ashamed that the figures that we are seeing on the ground are not showing that you are doing anything. And a whole year has passed, and there is nothing to show for it, but look at the money you've spent. So if they wanted, they should have taken steps to show. You remember one time, the convoy of the president, at the time that he lifted he removed the subsidy, and everything went up, the purchasing power of the ordinary citizen completely collapsed. And this man was going with hundreds of vehicles, as convoy. How much fuel are you spending? And this is public money. So right from the beginning, these people, either they don't even understand how to solve these problems, and this is becoming very obvious as we go into this.
That's what we say. Oh, if you say they're not really understanding, but there was a 90 billion naira that was earmarked for Hajj, for pilgrimage.
Now, these figures that are being quoted, there is no transparency.
So you don't think that 90 billion it's really the right
like figure? Everything that you hear in terms of figures show, when figures are quoted, what actually gets to that particular point, if you check, you will be lucky to get 10 to 20% of that money. Just get your journalists to investigate and see. And obviously, this is not the only places that they have earmarked monies. Come back to the padding in the budget. How many billions have been allocated to members?
Is there really padding in the budget?
Oh, yes, there is. Budgeted, and so many other experts on budget have shown that. They've come up with the figures.
But again, Dr. Bugaji, should the government that is in an economic crunch be sponsoring religious trips, such as a pilgrimage?
Now, this is an issue that plays into politics. This is not economics, right? If you're talking about economics, money should be invested so that these people should be rich enough to pay for themselves, right? This is what, this is the economic argument. But these people are basically playing politics. And this is why they are putting that, money in that particular.
Should it be a priority for a government that is struggling to fix an economy? When we say
that's the point. That's the point. But when you come to this, don't just isolate the 90 billion. Take them as a whole. How much money? And you will find, in fact, the 90 billion is chicken feed compared to the wastages that have been put out there. So it's a mindset, of this government.
So you don't think that? Yes, because if you tell me that just wait 5 more minutes, your food is going to be here. You've been hungry for 3 days, and when I know that it's going to be 5 more minutes, I might postpone my death because psychologically I was just want to stay alive till the food comes. And when I know that truly the food is coming,
the power of hope.
But they've told us a renewed hope, and that is even a bigger kind of hope, because when it's a renewed hope, but the question is, are we on the right path?
The renewed hope they talk about is a renewed fraud. I can't see anything in that hope. Because look, what are the deliverables? Let us count them. It's 1 year now. Has security been abated? No. Has poverty been abated? No. Has the infrastructure improved? No. Have the hospitals, the out-of-school children? What are the metrics? So if they think they have done something, let us see. But again, when you say that you are aware that people are in pain, and then you take money and spend on luxury vehicles, and you take a long retinue of staff, of people in foreign trips, or you spend so much money in so many other things that are not addressing the security and welfare of your citizens, you can't expect people to take you seriously.
Let's take a breather, Dr. Bugaji. There's so much more to talk about. But there are those who will disagree with you when you say that this government has shown nothing in the last 1 year.
Fine, let's see it. Let's see.
We'll talk about some of those things that this government will say we have done, and this 1 year, just like the SDF has said, that President Tinubu has done a lot to show that we are on the right path.
Yeah. Let him tell us exactly the figures.
Yeah, we'll come back.
What was it 1 year ago? What is it today?
Let's go on a break, Dr. Bugaye. I will come back. There was a time when I was having a conversation with you, and with your knowledge of President Tinubu, you seem not to be very convinced, or you don't seem to appreciate the effort. Now, maybe the effort is not commensurate with the outcome in the last 1 year. What do you think could have gone wrong?
I'm not close enough to know exactly, but it appears he doesn't seem to have the grip that I know he used to have. And he doesn't have a team. I'm afraid.
He has a cabinet.
He has a cabinet. When I talk about team, a team of competent people. I'm not saying there are no competent people in his government. There are, here and there. But I have not seen the team. Every administration, especially in a presidency, the first evaluation is the quality of his team. Who are the people immediately around him?
So you're not impressed by the people he has around him?
That's the first thing that has gone wrong, from all that I can see.
So from your own point of view, will he go and start dismantling this cabinet?
No, he has people around him that I know are quite competent. I mean, that he has worked with, but they're not there in the cabinet. And I don't see them in the presidency.
I mean, you will see a whole lot of people that have been with him. Mr. Cardoso, who used to be his commissioner in Lagos. Mr. Wale Adun used to be a commissioner with him in Lagos. And there are a host of all of them.
Remember, I was a national secretary of the ACN.
ACN at the time, right? Yeah.
So it's my environment.
It's tough, so you know.
Exactly, I have an idea. Now look, what I'm basically trying to say is that there are far more competent people out there that he could have brought. You know, who are in APC? I'm not in APC, so don't make that mistake thinking that I'm interested. I'm not interested. But the point is, even within the APC and within his own, he could have brought more people. And we were actually hoping that he was going to do that. And because of this, some of us don't even know who to talk to when we have ideas to give. Because you see, it's not, I mean, I'm not in PDP, so I'm not like an opposition as such, right? So I'm not, happy that they're not performing. But look, as a citizen, as somebody at my age, with what little experience I've been able to acquire, my concern is how can a government access the right ideas so they can deliver? Because if they cannot deliver on their mandate, we are all going to be in trouble. And we are.
Let's assume that this were, if it was the Tinubu of 2003 or Tinubu
even
of 2007.
Yeah.
You think that this is not on the same level?
Even 2011.
But it's not the same Tinubu that you
He doesn't seem to have that grip.
Which he used to have.
Yeah. I don't know what has happened. I don't want to venture into, any guesses, but sadly he doesn't have that grip.
Are you one of those who are thinking that this cabinet is not showing his mettle enough, and that those members of this cabinet that should be shown the door, because not all of them are living up to expectations?
Not only that, when he came to influence the emergence of the principal officers of the National Assembly, he brought in people who ought not to be in the National Assembly in the first place.
Like who?
Like people who are leading the Senate.
I mean, they are just two leaders.
This is somebody who has his cases. And there is nothing in terms of, he has held positions here and there. Look at what a mess he made of it. And then you bring this person and say, this is the head of National Assembly.
So you're disappointed on that level?
Of course.
What about this cabinet, the members of the Federal Executive Council, ministers?
Now, I don't want to mention names because I don't think it is fair to mention names. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of the people that he has appointed there don't seem to have a grasp. Look at how a lady, just started collecting money. And
allegedly,
fair enough, allegedly. But the point is that when you look at the ministers, what have they been able to deliver? Really. And I'm hoping in the next few days, we'll all be ears trying to see, is there anything that they have done that we can't see that we don't know?
If President Tinubu on the morning of May 29, that's going to be in a few days, if he wakes up in the morning in his national address and fires some of the cabinet, would he be surprised?
I don't know if he's going to be able to do that.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Well, how much of a danger would it be if he keeps on with some of these persons that you think are not showing up? They are not coming up to.
Well, the danger is what I try to say. I made reference to James Baldwin, Fire Next Time. Yeah. If you read that book, and if you read Kaplan, The Coming Anarchy, you can see clearly what's going to happen. You are producing dangerous people in society every day, in their thousands. And what do you expect? And the country is going down the drain. The infrastructure is collapsing. There are no reason for that. The issue of poverty is facing country, and we are not telling. For example, this country has lots of potential. We have no reason to be hungry. Shaun, we have 70 million hectares of agricultural land. How many countries in the world can boast of that? Yet our grain deficit in the country is estimated at 30 million metric tons. If you look at rice, which is the staple, the consumption is put at 6.7 million metric tons, and we are only able to produce about 50% of that. Look at the land that is there. Look at the amount of noise and policy papers on agriculture, and yet they are not delivering.
So members of this government may disagree with you, Dr. Bugaji.
No, members of this government. Let's get it very clear. They cannot agree with me because they will leave. They'll be fine. They have to find a way of justifying their seats.
And this is the point that they're making. The SGF says that this government had made this country has witnessed significant progress in the last 1 year. And I quote him, he says, I make bold to say that Nigeria under this present stewardship has witnessed significant policy strides in various sectors of life.
Like what?
No, he mentioned economy. He says now exactly we earn more money, and the Nigerians should hold some of the state governors accountable because they now have more money.
Let's take it. We earn more money, right? But that money has been completely rubbished. What's the value of the naira now? When they came in, how was it?
And that's one thing that this government will tell you. They've done two major things on the fiscal and on the monetary side of things.
You produce money that is useless.
Unification of the exchange. And these are things that a lot of people have clamored for, but they came into office and they did it.
You see, Shaun, they went into these policies without any preparation.
For you, it was a knee-jerk.
I don't know. Maybe they wanted to please the World Bank and the IMF. Maybe they have some discussions with them. But the fact of the matter is that they withdrew subsidy, which I agree in principle, but you have to prepare for it. And there was no preparation. And after that, they have not been able to figure out what to do. The last I heard was that they are trying now to pounce on pension funds. I was in the National Assembly when the pension reform was made, when PENCOM was created. And what was the problem? The problem was that pensioners end up leaving their job and they can't find the pension because government officials have eaten up that money, right? So this money was taken out of government. And PENCOM was simply a regulator. It is the pension administrator that will keep that money. And for you to be a pension administrator, you have to qualify. There are certain boxes that you have to tick. And the whole idea is to protect that money from government. So it's like you having your money in the bank, and then the government saying, okay, they are now going to mop up, the money that, people who have got accounts in the bank are going to. It's not your money. You can't touch it. So for me, it's groping in the dark. There is no plan for the removal of subsidy. And this mistake, you can see the consequences. How many people have died because they can't eat? How many people have completely lost all their savings, and how many are working on the street? Some people are saying that they are doing this deliberately to weaponize poverty for the next election. I don't think so. I think they just lost it. They don't have any idea what to do, and they're groping in the dark.
If you look at security and the efforts of our men in uniform and the gallantry that is shown in the battlefield, there is a lot of clearing out of some of these dangerous elements, and the military and the police, they are doing so much more. Would you be able to appreciate some of the effort that are being made in stabilizing this country in the area of security?
I recognize the fact that there is a new impetus. But you see, given what is there, it is like a drop in an ocean. And there are certain suggestions that have been given that I can't see why. For example, why can't you have more policemen? Why can't you have more boots on the ground? All these young people that have nothing to do, why can't you employ them, train them, and push them? How many times have we made this thing very clear? Why? What is stopping them from doing that? Why? You can't say you don't have the money to do that, right? And there are so many things that they could have done along this line. I would be quite happy if they are beginning to do it. But honestly, Shaun, yes, I appreciate a few things that I have seen that are pleasing, but they're not anywhere near the magnitude of the problem. And if we go at this speed, then I don't see really how much we're going to achieve.
And there seems to be...
and Shaun, I must say this, because this has been said by quite a number of people. In the last 10 years or so, or 12 years that we have got this thing, there is a cartel within the security and the public service arrangement that are making huge amount of money out of this. So whatever money you put in there, it gets siphoned. And this we have seen, and reports have been given by our own researchers and by researchers from international organizations. And I've got copies of this report. I have had to write reports upon reports. We held conferences, and we have people who are retired, security officers that have, given us, some of the details of how these things are done.
So most of the money meant to fight insecurity are going into private hands.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It's sad, but it's happening.
And it's happening under this government.
To be fair, It's not just security. Any money for anything, for agriculture, for health, for everything. And we can see it from the National Assembly budget.
But I'd like to take you up on one matter, but then my joy is to see that this government succeeds, because if they do,
we want this government to succeed. Sean, if it doesn't, we are all going to be in soup.
we are doomed. Because either we like it or not.
I mean, I will have to travel from one place to the other. I need security to be able to travel. So I want them to succeed. It's not by happiness that they are not able to solve the problem.
So you think that they're faltering in this initial 1 year, and if you look at it, that's about almost 35 or almost 40% of the entire 4-year term that will be in office. Now, if that is 35 or so percent, according to you, from what you have graded, it looks poor from your assessment. What do you think that the president needs to be doing immediately to salvage the situation?
The president needs to admit that within his team, there is no capacity to deal with the problems of this country. And within this country, there are a number of people. He can even maintain his ministers if he wants them for political reasons. I don't mind that. But look, why can't he invite people who are available and who can come as a team and show him this is the way to do this, the way, and then direct his ministers to implement and make sure that these things are being done. But now, when they speak, the ministers, they don't come across as people who know what is to be done in their own sectors.
There's a theory that